Hi everyone, my name is Hannah. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about all of the books that I read in November. So at the time that I'm filming this, there is still 2 days left in November. So I do have a book that I'm going to mention here that I haven't even started yet, but I think I can finish it in those 2 days. But as of right now, this present moment, I finished 11 books and then it will hopefully be 12 by the end of the month. I just don't have time to film during the week and I want to get this posted because my Bookmas videos will be coming out and I don't want to have this overlap into December. So yeah, let's just get right on into it and talk about all of the books that I read in November. So, the first book that I read in November was After by Anna Todd. Yeah, so that is a thing that I did. I was homesick a day and I just randomly decided, I don't know, I was like on TikTok, like going into the rabbit hole of like dark romance TikToks, and people kept mentioning like how much they love the After series and the After movies, and I was like, you know, I haven't heard the greatest things about it, but the people that love it like really love it, so let me give it a shot. But I decided to watch the movie first, and it's like kind of addicting. Like you get sucked in and it's not great. I mean, it's not great, but it's so entertaining to watch for some reason. So as soon as I finished the first movie, I immediately watched the second movie. And then I texted my friend Casey and was like, dude, can you watch these so we can go see the third movie in theaters together? And she was like, all right. So she watched the first two movies and was like, yeah, I see what you mean. Like, they're not good, but they're so addicting. Like, you just need to know what's gonna happen. So anyways, that's the story of why I read this book. So I liked the movie and was like, you know what? I get that it's like toxic and problematic and not great, but I kind of just want to read the book. So I bought the book and yeah, it was toxic and not great. I ended up rating it 2 stars. I thought the book was way worse than the movie. I thought that Tessa's character was so annoying and naive and just said the stupidest things in the book, and Hardin is way more of a dick in the books than he is in the movie. And I mean, I wouldn't recommend the movie either, but I think the movie's better. So yeah, I did read After, and I will not be continuing on with the series because I just can't. I will finish the movie series though, so you know, there's that. All right, let's move on from that. So then I finished reading Down Among the Sticks and Bones by Shauna Maguire. I had originally put this on my Vampathon TBR. It wasn't on my like official TBR, but I picked it up to read for Vampathon because I used Every Hearted Doorway to read for the Camp Weekend Ween. And then I thought, well, this is perfect because it has like vampire vibes in it. But then I didn't get to it, so I still wanted to read this book because I love the Wayward Children series. This is book 2. It's like a prequel to the first book though, so the events in this book happen before the events in the first book, but you should still read them in order, I think. But yeah, if you don't know what the Wayward Children series is, it's about these children who find these magical doorways to different worlds that best suit them, kind of like Narnia and Alice in Wonderland. And there's these like crazy different worlds, like all this stuff. And all of the books in the series are really short. They're like less than 200 pages, and I just love them all so much. I've reread this series a few times already, and I will continue to do so. But yeah, this was a 5 out of 5. I really liked this one. This is one of my favorites in the series. Then I picked up 2 Colleen Hoover books. The first one I picked up was All Your Perfects by Colleen Hoover. This is a very emotional, I wouldn't call it a romance, it's more just like a contemporary fiction, but it deals very heavily with the topic of infertility. So if that is a sensitive subject for you, skip this one because it is very, very involved with infertility and feelings of depression and grief and stuff like that. But yeah, I read this all in one day and I really, really liked it. I thought it was very beautiful, very heartbreaking, and it definitely made me cry. I was all by myself and I just really needed a hug after reading this one. But yeah, 5 out of 5. Then I picked up November 9 by Colleen Hoover, and I will be forever annoyed with myself that I read this in a single day. On November 8th. November 8th. It was a missed opportunity. I understand that now. I don't know why I did that. Yeah. This is another emotional, kind of tragic, contemporary, I guess it's a romance, but I don't know that I would call it a romance because there's just so much emotional, dark things going on in this one that it's like, yes, the romance is the focus, but I don't know. I don't know what to classify it as. I think I would just classify it as contemporary fiction. But this book is set on November 9th of every year for like 5 years, where Ben and Fallon, they have this really random way of meeting, which I'm not going to talk too much about. And then they decide to meet on November 9th every year for 5 years. And it seems like it would be really insta-lovey because they're only meeting one day a year, and that's all they talk the entire time is just on that one day. But, you know, it really worked, and I really liked this book. I did call the plot twist a bit, but I still really liked it, and I still gave it 5 out of 5. The next book I picked up was Luna and the Lie by Mariana Zapata. I have been slowly making my way through Mariana Zapata's backlist, and this was Chloe from Books with Chloe's Patreon book club pick, so I wanted to pick this one up this month for sure. And I did really like this one. It wasn't, you know, one of my favorites of hers, but it was still a really solid book. I really liked it. Mariana Zapata is the queen of slow burn romances. I think this was a 600+ page book. Yep. And she really, really drags out the tension. So if a slow burn is not your thing, probably skip this one, but I really enjoyed it. It follows Luna, and then she works in like this car shop as like a car painter detailer. I don't know what that's actually called, but she works with like a bunch of men, and one of her bosses, Rip, he's like the grumpy guy, and yeah, they have like a little like friendship to romance kind of thing, obviously, because it's a romance book, so you know what's gonna happen. And I ended up giving this one a 4 out of 5 stars. The next book I read was A Million Junes by Emily Henry. I wanted to read more from Emily Henry because I really like her 2 adult romance books, and this is a magical realism YA book. So it's very different from her other 2 books that I really loved that she wrote. And my favorite thing about this book was the magical realism aspect to it. Every time there was something like magical mention, those were my favorite parts. I didn't really care for the romance. It's one of those like feuding families, like a Romeo and Juliet kind of retelling where, you know, the 2 end up falling for each other even though their families hate each other. And there's this curse surrounding their families that if they like even talk to somebody from the other family, something bad's gonna happen or whatever. So they're trying to break this curse. But yeah, this was just okay. I thought it was a bit too long. It was slow at parts, but like I said, I really liked the magical realism aspect of it. But it was still pretty good. I ended up giving it 3 out of 5 stars. Then I read The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. This was a reread for me. This is one of my favorite books of all time, and this reread really proved to me that I was right in claiming this as one of my favorite books of all time because I love it so, so much. It's so magical and whimsical, and it was the exact vibe that I was in the mood for, like the exact book that I wanted to read, and it just delivered everything I wanted and more on this reread. It's so, so good. I'm still astounded by the fact that this is Erin Morgenstern's debut book. Like, that is just mind-blowing to me. It's just so, so good. It's about a circus that arrives without warning. It's open only at night, and there's like a magical competition, and that's really all I'm going to say about it because that's all I knew when I went into it the first time, and it just really sweeps you off your feet. This was obviously a 5 out of 5, still a favorite of all time, and I love this book so much. Then I jumped into A Shadow in the Ember by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This is the prequel series to the Blood and Ash series, so the first book from Blood and Ash. This is the prequel series, which is called Flesh and Fire, and this is book 1, and it's set like a couple hundred years before the events of From Blood and Ash. And I was a little nervous that I wouldn't like the new characters that we were introduced to, but here I am looking like a fool because obviously I ended up loving this. I really liked how it paralleled From Blood and Ash, but not in a way where it felt like I was reading the same story, but in the sense that I was like, oh, it's kind of like history repeats itself, because like I can distinctly say like, oh, this is kind of like when this happened to Poppy in From Blood and Ash. And so I really liked that aspect, but it is definitely its own story. It's not like just like a carbon copy of the other books. And I really, really like Sarah as the main character, and I like Ash, and I just want more. I want the next book in the Blood and Ash series, and I want the next book in the Flesh and Fire series, and I want them now. So this was a 5 out of 5. Oh, and definitely don't skip this book. It has a lot of important information that I feel like you're gonna need moving forward in the Blood and Ash books. So if you liked the Blood and Ash books, you'll love this, so don't skip it. Then I continued on my reread of the Wayward children's series. I picked up Beneath the Sugar Sky, and I'm just gonna continue rereading the whole series because I love it. And yeah, I just have so much fun every time I read one of these books. They're just so fun, and they're such quick reads. They're just everything. They're just everything. 5 out of 5. Then obviously I was onto a fantasy kick, like a more magical realism. I think I'm coming out of my romance reading mood, which has lasted several months, and now I'm getting back into magical realism and fantasy. So I ended up picking up The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden. I heard that this has like similar feels to the Night Circus. It's not like exactly the same, but it has those like subtle magical vibes. It's a slow burn story. This book follows Vasya, and she is in the Russian wilderness in winter, and her family and her town are kind of superstitious, where they do these rituals to help out like household spirits and give offerings and stuff for these household spirits to protect them. And her dad gets remarried, and her stepmother is like very against that, and so she like forbids them from doing any of these household rituals. And the whole town kind of gets behind this priest too, that they're just like saying that it's evil and to not, you know, make offerings to these demons. And then bad stuff starts to happen, and Vasya is one of the only people in the town who can see the household spirits, so she knows that they're real and knows that they're struggling. And so she's like trying to combat that. And it's very atmospheric for winter, which is exactly what I was in the mood for. And yeah, I really liked this one. It is a little bit slow, but not in a way that's like boring, but in a way that you're just like, where is this going? Where are we going? I do kind of wish that it was a standalone story, because I feel like it totally could have been, but I am really eager to get to the next books because I really like the main character Vasya, and I just want to see like what else is going to happen. I loved the subtle like magical aspect of this. And like I said, it's just a super atmospheric read. So if you're looking for like a cozy book to cuddle up on the couch with this winter, I would highly recommend this one. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. And then I'm also rereading my favorite graphic novel series, Giant Days. I'm on to volume 6 now because this is volume 5. And yeah, I just wanted to keep reading it because it's a very comforting story. Like, these characters are just, they're just wonderful. This graphic novel series is so funny, and literally I like laugh out loud in every volume. It's so much fun, and I love the art style. So this graphic novel series follows these 3 girls who meet in college, their freshman year of college, and the story is literally just them like living their life in college and adapting from going from like childhood to adulthood and college shenanigans that they get into, and just like their lives, and they're just so wonderful. I love them so much. And yeah, I definitely laughed out loud during this one, but it's not one of my favorite volumes. It's definitely a great one though. I never know what to rate these because like in my heart it's a 5, but it's more objectively probably like a 4. So maybe I'll give it a 4.5. I don't know. And that's the last book that I have read as of right now filming this. But like I said at the beginning, there is still 2 days left of November, and I'm going to try to pick up The 10,000 Doors of January by Alix E. Harrow. This is said to be kind of similar to The Starless Sea. This girl January ends up finding this strange book. She finds a strange book, one that tells the tale of secret doors of love, adventure, and danger. For the first time, January realizes she can escape her story and sneak into someone else's. So I think it's going to be a really good like magical realism book, and it's really pretty. So hopefully I can finish this in November, otherwise mentioning it in here is pointless. But you can always follow my Goodreads if you want to know my final thoughts about this book, because obviously I'm filming this now and I don't know how I feel about it. So you can always follow me on Goodreads, it's linked down below, but I'm hoping that I can finish this one in November as well. So yeah, these are all of the books that I read in November, plus one that I will hopefully be getting to in the next 2 days. Lots of 4 and 5 star books, so I'm very happy with this reading month, and I'm looking forward to December. If you don't know, I'll be doing the 12 days of Bookmas, so I'll be doing a video every other day leading up until Christmas, starting on December 1st, and I've already got my videos planned out. I'm really excited for that, so stay tuned for that. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of those. And yeah, let me know in the comments down below if you have read any of these and what your thoughts are. And you know what? Let me know what kind of reading mood you are in as you're watching this. Like, do you want to read romance? Do you want to read fantasy? Are you in a thriller mood? Like, I want to know. I'm very curious. So comment down below what your reading mood is right now. I'd be very curious to know that, since mine is starting to shift. And yeah, thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you all in my next one. Bye!